What if you could glimpse the future of air combat? The future is now. The secret American fighter jets and aerial weapons of tomorrow are being developed today. Incredibly powerful engines push fighters to the edge of space. Sophisticated helmet systems give pilots a 360-degree view of the battlefield. And stealth, invisible planes that can strike anywhere in the world at a moment's notice. But with every advance, the enemy will be sure to counter, even striking in space itself. This isn't science fiction, but actual scenarios based on known diagnostics. A glimpse of what's coming very soon. Experience what will be. Dissect the tactics. Witness the awesome spectacle of the dogfights of the future. June 20th, 2016. A United States Coast Guard air rescue helicopter races into hostile territory. America's military is on high alert. A civilian aircraft has been shot down by a foreign power, and a rescue effort must be mounted. To provide air cover, the Air Force scrambles a flight of 4 aircraft. F-22 Raptors, the most formidable fighter aircraft ever constructed. The Raptors, stealth fighters, streak into the danger zone at over 1,000 miles per hour, Mach 1.5. They are virtually invisible to enemy radar. The F-22 is just one of a lethal new breed of fighting machine that even now are redefining aerial warfare.
Quantity is a quality all of its own, and the Western world is very much putting its eggs in the basket of high technology, fewer numbers that can achieve the same effects on the target because you have precision and stealth.
These amazing machines are the culmination of a century of fighter aircraft development. The first combat aircraft, or so-called Generation 1 fighters, took to the skies in World War I. Planes like the Fokker D-7, SPAD-13 pioneered fighter aviation, topping out at just over 100 miles per hour. Generation 1 reaches its apex in World War II. Planes like the P-51 Mustang and German Bf-109 could fly and fight at well over 400 miles per hour. But by the close of that war, the first Generation 2 fighters, jets, upped the ante. One of these, the German Me-262, could fly over 500 miles per hour. After the war, the United States and Soviet Union developed their own Generation 2 aircraft, like the F-86 and the MiG-15. They pushed over 600 miles per hour, near the sound barrier, in clashes over Korea. Lessons learned in the Korean conflict, coupled with far more advanced electronics, spurred a leap in speed and killing power for Generation 3 aircraft, like the F-4 Phantom and Soviet MiG-21. They topped out at over twice the speed of sound, some 1,400 miles per hour.
Third gen began to introduce avionics types of engagements, radar-guided missiles, and the air-to-air engagement.
By the early 1970s, Generation 4 fighters like the American F-14 and F-15 were deployed. These aircraft featured far more sophisticated avionics. The electronics suite that supports navigation, radar, and weapons.
In developing the Gen 4 fighters, not only did they have a whole lot more computer power to work with, but it was a mindset change to create the ultimate killing machine.
But no matter how fast or well-armed, The advance of ground radar and surface-to-air missiles during the 1970s and 80s meant that entire sections of sky could be denied to even the finest Generation 4 aircraft.
The life expectancy for a Gen 4 fighter over anywhere that we may go in the near future is very little. And I'd say easily 50% loss is only because the enemy is not going to have enough missiles to shoot these guys down.
To survive and dominate this environment, radical new technologies are needed. Enter the F-22, the world's first Generation 5 fighter. First proposed in the 1980s, the F-22 was a single-seat fighter. It was unveiled to the public in 1997 and delivered to the Air Force in 2003. Its true top speed, a closely guarded secret, is well over 1,400 miles per hour. It is armed to the teeth with 6 radar-guided missiles and 2 heat seekers.
The F-22 Raptor, I saw that first at Andrews back in '91. If Kim Basinger was an airplane, that's the one she'd be, just a startlingly beautiful aircraft. It outperforms the F-15 in every regime, and it's invisible to radar. It don't get much better than that.
Initially, when the jet was conceptually designed, it was always meant to be an air-to-air fighter, because it was supposed to replace the F-15C, and that jet's main role and mission in the Air Force was an air superiority platform.
Now, a flight of F-22s will employ a startling array of high technology in a hypothetical future combat scenario. 4 Raptors race to provide cover for an air rescue unit. The Raptors speed in with aid of an advanced engine capable of super cruise, a revolutionary technology introduced in the F-22 that allows it to fly extremely fast while conserving fuel. Super Cruise utilizes a powerful Pratt & Whitney F-119 PW-100 engine and sleek aerodynamics to allow the F-22 to fly faster than the speed of sound for long periods of time without aid of an afterburner.
I can cover a whole lot more territory at Mach 1.5 than I can cover at 0.9 Mach. When I don't have to use afterburner to achieve that altitude and that airspeed, it allows me to stay up there longer, so I'm not wasting all my gas and I have a little bit more endurance.
The Raptors arrive on station just as the Coast Guard begins the rescue. Then, the Raptors detect a formation of 14 enemy MiG-29s on radar. Suddenly, with no warning, the MiG-29s fire on the rescue helicopter. As the rescue helicopter's frantic radio calls fall silent, a stark realization sets in. The F-22 Raptor is now in a shooting war. They are outnumbered 3-1. It's time to prove that the Raptor's technology really will make up for numbers. Their primary advantage, and the cornerstone of Generation 5 technology, is stealth.
People don't understand how diabolical stealth is. A stealth aircraft is not completely invisible to radar, but if you track an aircraft, it means you have to track every sparrow and dragonfly in the sky.
Stealth is not only the shaping of the airframe, but the materials used in the airframe for the sole purpose of not reflecting radar pulses back to the bad guy's radar. That first came into what we call an attack airplane as opposed to a pure fighter in the F-117 Nighthawk.
The F-117 uses a uniquely shaped airframe to scatter radar energy. The odd angles made it unstable in flight, and the radar-absorbent coating was expensive to maintain. This early type of stealth could not be used in an air superiority fighter like the F-22. So engineers developed an improved form of stealth called planform alignment. Planform alignment orients flight surfaces and small structures on the aircraft at the same angle. The result is something like a camera lens that shapes and focuses radar energy and directs it away from the detecting station. This allowed engineers to design a much smoother, more aerodynamic shape for the F-22, making it stronger, faster, and more maneuverable than the F-117.
In this modern era of stealth combat, there are two types of fighters, stealth fighters and targets.
Now, witness how stealth will change the future of aerial warfare as a single flight of 4 Raptors engages a formation of 14 MiG-29s. The F-22s are invisible to the enemy. They can pick where and when to begin the fight.
Any other 4th-generation fighter aircraft in the world, for the most part, what they're going to see when they're being targeted by a flight of Raptors is nothing.
The Raptors obtain lock and fire. The missiles deploy from internal weapons bays. If the missiles were mounted externally, the F-22's stealth outline would be broken. Warnings blare in the MiG-29 cockpits.
The bad guys won't know they're in a fight until the airplanes start blowing up, which is kind of a tough way to learn that lesson.
Still undetected, the Raptors fire another volley of advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles, or AMRAAMs. These AMRAAMs are AIM-120Ds, top speed over 2,000 miles per hour. They could be on operational U.S. fighters sometime after 2010. The D possesses better range and guidance than the AIM-120C in use today. Both are so-called fire-and-forget missiles. Once it is halfway to the target, the missile's onboard radar takes over to guide the 45-pound high-explosive warhead to impact.
So what that basically allows us the capability to do is designate a target, and once its own radar acquires a target, then it allows us in the cockpit to basically forget about that missile.
The MiG-29s take evasive action, deploying chaff to confuse the missile's homing radar. Some manage to cheat death, but in the end, 8 are destroyed or damaged. The rest retreat to friendly airspace. The engagement typifies the strengths of the F-22 in a dogfight of the future.
What does 5th generation give you, 4th generation doesn't? You'll know where the other guy is. You'll know what he can do. You'll know he can't reach you and you can reach him. You'll always engage from an advantage, and the advantage is tremendous.
But just as the Americans believe the fight is won, an ominous signature appears on long-range radar. Nearly 150 miles to the east,